Right. And their
Um,
partners can sense it. And a lot of times, I've talked to these members and I've talked to members where and they're probably getting some change. And, oh, people really say that, they can see changes in me. They say that they can see changes in me, but your partner doesn't, right? Like the person who's living with you every day,
yeah.
they're still playing the victim. They'll want to role play or they'll kind of want to like talk, because we connect with a lot of the members. And I'm like, I'll tell them like, I don't think you're ready for the framework. I was always that person in the group, like,
Yeah.
man, I don't think you're ready for the frameworks because you just blew up at somebody at work. You were posting about that. You like lost it and started screaming at everybody. And
And it's just the levels again. And this kind of the
right,
first big point I want to discuss is really like, what is the degree of change you're talking about, right?
right,
So I can't tell you how easy it is to get your partner to say, I see you're changing. You did that within the first month. It's so
right,
easy to get him to say that, right?
right,
Because you could just be like 5-10% better and it's like, yeah, you're better.
right,
But for people to actually emotionally feel that, to emotionally take action on that, to put money where their mouth is, kind of thing,
right,
right? To really say, like, oh, you have changed and I'm drawn to it. That's a
right,
very vast distance. And it's almost like
right.
the analogy I have is, a lot of entrepreneurs, because I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs now who are newer. They always tell me, Jeff, a lot of people tell me though about like they think my philosophies and my teachings are very good. Then I ask them like, but are they taking out their credit card and paying you?
Right.
No. Well, doesn't matter. The same thing, right? So but my partner's telling me how much I've changed. Well, great. But are they dedicating their one and only life and deciding it to want to spend it with you? No.
Right.
Then you're not changing. And then another
Right.
analogy before I let you go on is like, it's like, imagine you have a cooler in your house right now and someone knocks on your door and says, hey, I have a cooler that's about 5% better than yours. Who cares? But if you're
Right.
like, I have this refrigerator, it's a smart refrigerator, it can talk to you, you can talk to it, it will regulate the temperature for you, it will tell you what's in the fridge, it will just, you don't need to put ice in it every single time. It's 10x better than what you have here. Oh yeah, get the fridge out of here. Get the
Let's
cooler out
go.
of here. Let's go. Right? And that's kind of the level that I want people to understand is like when we talk about creating safety, when we talk about creating admiration, when we talk about creating passion, when we talk about creating your internal shifts, untethering, it's not just like I sometimes like play victim, I sometimes don't play victim. I'm better than what I was before. No, you need to be 10x better, right?
Right.
10x, like you need to transcend yourself, kind of thing.
I was watching an interview with your partner, Chris Blundell, and he was talking to another member, and I think he put it best. And I think I got to this point too, right? So there's your 1 month changes, and then I feel like there's your 6 month changes, and then there's like your 1 year change. And hang on, I'm gonna adjust this. And he was saying this person was like a little down and discouraged, and Blundell was sharing with him, at the point where I got to the 6 month mark in the program, you like, I could stop, like I could just be here, right? Stay, just not put so much work in it anymore. But when you coast, right, where are you going?
Yeah.
You never coast up. We only ever coast down.
Yeah.
So he's like, but he came to a decision where if he could be this much better and this different at the 6 month mark, where could he be at the 1 year mark?
Mm,
Right.
mm,
And I remember like watching that and being like, yeah, you know, and then just being like, we got to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're like doubling down, right? We're doubling down on the changes. And I still had not been able to leave the whole part of your program where you work on the internal shifts at 6 months. Remember, it was 9 months for me. It was 9 months, before I could move on and actually successfully start playing out the frameworks and actually have a conversation with somebody and like really deeply listen to them and be
Mm.
responsive to them and be responsive to my partner in a very deep way. And so if I had stopped at the 1 month mark, if I had stopped at the 6 month mark, if I had not just kept going and going and going all the way through, I just like I don't know, like I would have just shorted myself,
Yeah.
and just like shortchanged myself.
It makes sense.
So,
And it's almost like, like everything in life is such a momentum thing, right? Everything is feedback loops. We
mhm,
talk about this, how, you know, the difference between really successful people and really average people is actually very tiny, right? They may even like be 1% different every single day, but the 1% compounds every single day. And if you compound 1%, 365 days every single day, you'll be one person will be 37x better than the other one, right? And so
right.
people always whine about like, why does the 1% exist, right? And why is the rich so rich and why is the average so average? And you can not think about this as just money. You can think about this as just like happiness, as
Right.
relationship quality, whatever it is, because the people who are up here, they have let things compound for so long. Everything they do, everything they think, every decision you make, everything you think about, everything you say, right? Everything you say matters. It compounds so much. And so when you're down here and you're looking up at the people who are like have been compounding for years, you only have yourself to blame. You have to look at like the millions, the countless of thoughts, decisions, the way you wasted your time, the way you use your time, right? The things you focus on, the things you don't focus on, the things you blame, like even something as innocent as playing victim for like 30 minutes a day. For a lot of people, that's not even a big deal, right? So for the people you were talking to, right? Yeah, I played victim and I had FAE and I had a altercation with my employee.
Right.
For them, that's not a big deal. But for me, it's a big deal. If I spend 5 minutes, Elisa, in a non-thriving state, I fucked up my day. I know that. My
Oh,
standard is like that high, right? 5 minutes, that's it. While most people, they can be feeling bad for 30 minutes to be like, that's normal, right? It's just different standards here.
right. I'm with you. It bothers me so much. Like if I have like dark thoughts that I'm not managing, or I have a situation like with that, the EMT, I'm like, you're better than this, right? Like turn this
I'm not
around.
tolerating
Like,
that. Yeah, I'm
no,
not
do not
tolerating that.
tolerate this in don't tolerate it in yourself.
Yeah.
Like don't like, like you had a moment, you were stressed out, like you were wrestling a patient on the gurney and you had another paramedic and the whole situation was falling apart and everything was totally out of control. And then you yelled at your EMT and then they cry, like, no, you failed. You
Yeah.
failed.
Own it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not, there's no excuse. There's no, well, see, it was a very difficult situation, right? Like that's life. It's all full of just a series of difficult situations. Like
Yeah.
the entropy is always there, right? Like like you just, like that's how it is. And you're not being judged by your best moments. You're judging yourself by your worst moments. And you got to keep, right? It's raising those
It's
lowest tides.
raising those lowest tides. And so for people who
Right.
haven't joined the program yet or have joined the program and you're listening to this, remember, right? Everything is about the standards you have, right?
Right.
If you
Right.
if you feel like you're ever good enough and you're saying like, oh, I've grown enough, you have to compare yourself by what standard? By what standard? Sure, you're better than who you were before, but are you irreplaceable yet? Like, who are you
Right.
comparing yourself against, right? Are you comparing yourself against the best? Are you comparing yourself against some Joe Blow?
Right.
Who are you comparing?
Right.
And when you realize like the best of the best out there, the best of the best out there, right? They're always raising their lowest tides. They have very low tolerance for low standards. And this applies to like how you do the work in the program, how you do your work in your workplace, how much victim mindset you allow,